Hey guys, so I'm out on a nice walk with my dog today. It's pretty early in the morning. I've been awake for a little bit and just really needed to go do something. And this was something that I really wanted to talk about. But in the past, I really hadn't felt strong enough to do it. But after just thinking for a little bit, I kind of decided that it's selfish of me not to do this because of a fear that I have. And one of those things I wanted to touch on was a lot of the time when I talk about these types of things, it's because I want to. But it's honestly very difficult for me to talk about my personal experiences when I don't want to. Right, so for example, that's when you start to be very short. That's when a lot of things happen and you're kind of like, you give an example or a reason that has nothing to do with what it is, and then you kind of close people off, and before you know it, you make things worse for yourself. But it's easier in the moment than actually acknowledging what might be wrong. And I've been blessed enough recently to have been shown the value in not doing that anymore. That new challenge to me to actually express myself came from an amazing place and an amazing person, and I'm just really blessed to have gotten that set of instructions. That's something personally for me that's always been very difficult, and it's very easy for me to talk about other people's issues, but when it's my own, it's almost impossible. But the main thing I want to talk about is kind of the idea that you are not alone on certain things, right? So that's the whole idea for this, is I want you to not feel alone, because I want you to understand that I have struggles and that I go through things, and there are things that I just cannot talk about with most people, even though I would definitely benefit from that. And it's something that sometimes is so scary to talk about, because when you bring it to light, it's real and it might happen. But for a long time now, I've been trying to figure out how to talk about a lot of these issues like death or the fear of loss and things like that without actually just manifesting it. But I've seen a lot of people talk about their own experiences with these things and they basically just manifest it, right? Take a musician, for example. A lot of them talk about their pain in their songs and in interviews and that type of stuff. And before you know it, they're dead because all the things they were saying were true. And for a long time now, I've been trying to gather the strength and build real life experience on how to actually talk about a lot of these things that are so difficult that you spend your entire life avoiding them, but they catch up to you. I've been trying to learn how to talk about those things in a way that's not just manifesting that. And I think what I've concluded, and I'm confident enough to say now, that you have to talk about those things. You have to look at that type of stuff. Then once you see that hell, once you see that tragedy, whatever it might be for you, you have to actually take an action against it. And an example for that for me was my grandma. So my grandma's in a nursing home right now. I go visit her every Sunday, and it's a very weird experience because there are days where she knows who I am. There are days where she doesn't, but obviously the days that she doesn't know who I am really hurts me. She's some of the only family that I've ever had. But the days where she does know, or she recognizes me, but she'll say something to me that means a lot, or even literally just looks at me a certain way with eyes that aren't blank, it means everything to me. And that's why I'm willing to keep driving that hour to go do that by myself. But what she used to say all the time is, when I get old and can't take care of myself anymore, don't put me in a nursing home. And oddly enough, the way things unfolded just at a personal level with my family, that's exactly what did happen. And it wasn't because of malicious intent or anything like that. It was just the only option that we had. But looking back on it, what I realized is, if that is the greatest fear that you're willing to look at, you should take action against it. Now I've been blessed to be around some people who are a little bit older and see that, hey, like, you guys are in great shape, you still have your conscience, your mind, you're doing the best you can. You invested in fitness when you were younger and just maintained it, and now you're reaping the benefits. It's the difference between someday for me being able to say, like, I can play with my grandkids, I have a good relationship with them because I'm active and I can be in their lives, versus my grandparents were always in a chair watching TV. They loved me and they did things with me, but we didn't get to do as much. And now that I'm getting a little bit older, I feel like I was deprived that time, and I just don't want that. So you have to take an action against it. I'm 20 years old, and just going through this makes me realize that I can't be like that. I won't be like that. My family will not suffer because of me in that way someday. And you never know what's gonna happen. Tragedy happens, people get sick, people die, but the thing is, I'm going to do my best against that. I'm going to do my best in every scenario that I can in order to avoid these types of things, and I'm going to take an action and I'm going to put it out into the world and hope that it changes you too. Because to be honest, there are things that I don't know what will happen, but I'm willing to spend my entire life finding out with only good intentions. And I'm telling you, it will be the hardest thing you've ever done. I'm not on this walk right now because I really want to get up super early and go out and do this type of stuff. Like, yes, I enjoy fitness, but I'm just like you guys in the way where it's like sometimes it's nice to relax and just feel no challenges. But I needed this walk. I needed to get my brain going. I needed to feel good enough so I can even eat today and do these types of things, because when the weight of the world is on your shoulders, you have to get up and you have to do things, right? You have to stand back up and you have to just keep going, and it's insane just what will come back to you in that way. And I feel like I'm just getting started, but I really need to share this with the world, because You can talk about bad things without just wishing them upon yourselves. You have to take an action against it, and that was for me today. Getting up, doing this walk, continuing with the rest of my day in a way that's going to benefit me in the future. I have fitness goals, I have business goals, I have family goals, and I'm willing to do everything that I can to do the best at all of them. So someday, I can look back on this and say, I can't imagine watching this video back someday, or even my family finding it someday and seeing it just saying, hey dad, or hey grandpa, like, thank you for that. We've had a lot of good memories and we've done a lot of good stuff, and I feel like that's how you live forever.